鬼になれ教授の鬼にならないなら殺す煉獄教授の鬼になる破壊さす決して
This seal is such a menace that he routinely gets the cops called on him. Introducing our protagonist, Neil the Seal, a 600 kilo absolute unit of a southern elephant seal from my home state of Tasmania in the land down under, who is known for, above all else, being an absolute fucking menace to polite society. But despite his crimes, we all still truly love him. But what are his crimes? Well, see, he seems to just fucking hate traffic cones and road safety in general, has regularly been caught trespassing, and then once he has been caught trespassing, belligerently screaming at locals because they won't give him his fucking fish, and has been known to just block roads by plopping his fat ass down directly in the middle of them. However, hands down, the funniest shit he has ever done was just straight stopping this random lady from going to work. I shit you not. This motherfucker crawled out of the ocean, up the beach, crossed the road, absolutely fucking bodied this woman's poor letterbox, and then proceeded to plant himself directly in front of her fucking car. She was then unable to go to work because this half-ton beefcake was camping her driveway for so damn long. Local news had time to drive out to her house and cover the fucking story. Now, this is a lot of menace for a single seal to cause, but the funniest part of this is, old mate isn't even fully grown. He's like 5 years old. If you think he can fuck things up now, wait until he's nearly 2 solid-ass tons of blubber and takes issue with the wall of your house. I do not think that seal damage is covered on my fucking insurance plan, dude. Wombats defend themselves by, throwing it back. But to understand how the fuck they actually do it, you're gonna need to learn a little bit about them first. You see, Australia is home to 3 species of these bad boys, all of them equally adorable, and very importantly, all being burrowers, meaning they dig out a nice little hole for themselves and the family to live in, because, like the rest of us, they can't afford a fucking house in this economy, man. They grow to around 1.3 meters in length, but despite being small, they are built like fucking tanks, weighing in at a chunky ass 35 kilos, but despite their weight, I shit you not, they have a top speed of 40k an hour. Now, the fact that they can nearly get booked in a school zone, coupled with them being a tank-class marsupial, forms the start of their defense strategy. So you see, a fun fact about wombat anatomy is they spect all their defense points into their ass. Rather than having fat and muscle, a wombat's cheeks are made out of 4 thick plates of fused cartilage, making it extremely solid. And this Kevlar BBL allows for the fucking funniest defense mechanism I have ever seen on an animal. Basically, if a predator tracks down Mr. Wombat to his burrow, it'll stick its head in and start trying to dig him out. In response, the wombat will line his ass up with the tunnel door, chuck the gear shifter into reverse, and fucking floor it backwards up the tunnel into his aggressor, slamming his ass into its head. The impact then squashes the predator between his steel cheeks and the roof of the burrow, straight up crushing its skull like a Mortal Kombat fatality. I cannot make this shit up. This bird is a vampire. Introducing the vampire ground finch, native to the Galapagos Islands, and a great example of the horrifying affronts to the universe that evolution can produce when it decides to do a little trolling. Now you see, at first glance, this is the most boring vampire you can possibly imagine, coming in at a measly 12 centimeters and a mere 20 grams in weight.
Ooh, that's kind of small.
Rocking a feather pattern I can best describe as a Minecraft dirt block, and as it turns out, the bastards that wrote Twilight lied to me because it doesn't even fucking sparkle.
This is the skin of the killer, Bill.
So if it's missing fangs, angst, a cape, and the funny accent,
you must bounce on it.
How does it qualify as a vampire? Simple. Drinks a shitload of blood. You see, most birds eat seeds and insects, and while the vampire finch can eat those too, there is a problem. They live on an island, and that island is very small. In fact, they're only found on 2 of the Galapagos Islands, and small islands means a far smaller amount of that food to go around. To the point where these finches can't rely on it as their sole source. Which for a bird usually isn't a problem, because, you know, they don't need a plane ticket to just f*** off and fly somewhere. However, as the name suggests, the vampire ground finch can't fly for shit. So, how do they get their food? They suck it out of someone that can. This, don't laugh, is the Nazca booby. Hey, stop giggling back there. Another species of bird native to the islands. They are very strong flyers that feed on fish. They also nest on the islands, which is where our feathery Nosferatu comes to play. You see, when the boobies, stop giggling, come to roost, the vampire finch will sneak over and hop onto their back. Then, using their razor-sharp beak, they will poke a very small, borderline painless hole into one of the bird's flight feathers. Once the blood is flowing freely, the vampire finch gorge themselves on it. See, as it turns out, blood is macro-friendly. And considering these things are living creatures, they just make more blood. In essence, giving the vampire finch an infinite food source. In fact, they can get so much blood from these birds, it is not uncommon to see multiple finches sucking from the same booby. I'm sorry, I can't say that shit without cracking up. Komodo dragons are horror villains. I mean, seriously, this industrial-sized lizard is easily one of the biggest assholes in the animal kingdom when it comes to hunting methods, packing a PhD in suffering and a double degree in biological warfare purely because they cannot be expending effort to hunt. You see, Godzilla's little cousin here is the largest lizard in the world, weighing up to 166 kilos and being a full 3.13 meters in length, which means, for the short kings in my audience, if you're brave enough, banger mode of transport right there. Now, being the reptile equivalent of a Cadillac Escalade means that the Komodo dragon needs to consume a lot of calories to keep that bulk going. However, rather than using that bulk to proactively chase down and body slam its prey, they can take down prey 3 times their size, because as if being a reptilian tank was not enough, they are also venomous. And this isn't just your run-of-the-mill snake venom that, you know, gives you a nice quick 15-minute death. No. A Komodo hunt starts with it running up to its prey and giving it a nice big chomp on the leg, injecting it with hemorrhagic venom. After biting, the Komodo dragon off and just sits there watching. The confused and bewildered animal runs off into the forest, leaking blood, allowing that Komodo dragon to track it like a DoorDash order. A week goes by, and that bite wound isn't closing because hemorrhagic venom prevents blood clots. So, the animal is still slowly bleeding out, and the Komodo is still watching. More time passes. That bite wound gets infected because Komodos are carrion feeders, meaning that the inside of their mouth is full of enough rotting flesh and bacteria to give Asmongold a run for his money. The infection begins to drain the animal's strength, and the Komodo is still watching. Another week passes. The infection has spread, and the flesh has begun to rot. And you best believe that ass lizard is still there watching like he's waiting for his meal to heat up in the microwave. Once the bleeding, disease-ridden animal becomes too exhausted to move on its own and collapses, the Komodo strolls over and eats it alive, shredding it into chunks if it's larger, or if it's small enough, swallowing it whole as it screams on the way down. Even for me, man, that's